Welcome to a harsh reality broadcast on the 7th of November 2013. This evening I have a guest to my left that I much admire, and we call him Logical Larry. Opposite me we have Sad Bob. Hey Sad Bob, give us a smile. Ah, nothing changes, does it? Okay Larry, you and I believe that an economic collapse will happen, yet most of the population seem oblivious to this. Indeed, many people believe we are in recovery.
The best way I can describe how we view the world is that we are a product of our surroundings. Studies have shown that belief systems are well and truly ingrained in us by the time we reach 7 years old. Once a person reaches adulthood, it becomes virtually impossible to shift belief systems. Quite simply, Tony, you would be wasting your time should you try to logic against a person that relies on blind faith. Blind faith is very powerful.
I agree. I tread very carefully when I talk about organized religion. As many people know on this channel, I do not subscribe to religious beliefs. I truly believe that organized religion is a form of control. I even had someone say to me, "You will burn in hell for being an unbeliever." I thought to myself, that was not very Christian of them.
Tony, you are quite right about having to tread carefully. Discussing religion is a very touchy subject. It is interesting to note, though, as the years pass by, fewer and fewer people follow organized religion, and I suspect that boils down to travel and education.
I call it the Wizard of Oz moment. That's when the magical illusion was destroyed, when the man behind the curtain was exposed.
That's right, Tony, but make no mistake, you cannot expect to change someone's views, especially so when they have deep religious beliefs.
Okay, people who follow my channel will wonder why I am talking about religion. Quite simply put, it highlights the fact that the human mind can be manipulated and conditioned from an early age, and this can be seen in all walks of life. Larry will now provide some interesting points to ponder.
The majority of people like a sense of belonging. They tend to gravitate to people that have similar values. Hey Neil, do you fancy a dog and rice lunch with a beetle side dish?
Are you mad? That sounds disgusting.
There you go. That sounds awful in our culture, however quite acceptable in others. It is all about what we are used to. Imagine you were on a desert island and lived in an isolated community and only ate vegetables. Would you not find it repulsive if a ship arrived and the occupants invited you for lunch on the ship and presented you with steak and chips?
I never thought about it that way.
As humans, we have been extremely conditioned in our lives. The past, with its experience and knowledge and memory, informs us how to react in present situations. It is this conditioning that is responsible for much of our behavior to ourselves, to others, and to every situation in life. It is this conditioning through no fault of ours which dictates our perception of reality, of others and ourselves.
Wow, that's rather deep.
I think we should ban women drivers. What do you think, Neil?
What a crass statement. Are you for real?
Just trying to get a reaction from you. However, in some Middle Eastern countries, the controlling authorities wish to maintain the status quo by continuing to ban women drivers. They must be devastated that women are starting to become more educated and question the logic of the ban.
You are a one, Neil. You had me going there.
Did you know that in China it was a practice to bind women's feet to make them look smaller? It actually crippled many women. However, it was a perfectly acceptable practice until recently. I could go on, but I think you get my drift.
Can you tell us a little bit about confirmation bias?
Yes. Confirmation bias is a tendency for people to favor information that confirms their beliefs. It is also a tendency for people to only seek out information that conforms to their pre-existing viewpoints.
That is very interesting, Larry. We are all victims of confirmation bias to some extent. I really try to provide balance on my channel. People who follow my channel know that I am not a sensationalist. I really do try to be an independent critical thinker, whilst at the same time being aware that my values and perception on reality have been shaped during my lifetime. I admit that I view channels such as Peter Schiff, Gerald Slante and Chris Martenson as those channels tend to confirm my outlook. However, at the same time, I will view channels that have contra views to my own in an attempt to obtain a balance.
At least you understand confirmation bias and how it affects us as individuals. Another powerful bias is one called normalcy bias, and I am afraid that is the one that will catch people out during the economic collapse.
Hold on, Larry. What makes you think you are right about the economic collapse? You have admitted yourself that we all see confirmation bias. Who is to say you are right about the economic collapse?
It is a good question, and to be honest, I may not be right. However, the evidence from the research I have done has led me to believe that an economic collapse is highly likely, and the type of collapse will be determined by the measures taken by our politicians. Okay, I would just like to talk about normalcy bias. Neil, did you know as from tomorrow your money in your bank account will be subject to a levy of 40%?
Are you kidding? That will never happen.
Again, I was just trying to get a reaction from you. I agree that a levy on your monies held in your bank account will not be activated tomorrow. However, I think it will be activated in the future. We all suffer from normalcy bias to some extent. In other words, the experiences you have had in the past you expect to continue into the future. We have had an unprecedented period of relative stability over the last 50 years or so. We have not witnessed any significant threats to our lifestyle. Our wealth is not sustainable. It was achieved by borrowing far too much from the future and the exploitation of cheap labor from developing countries. Today matters are very different. Cheap energy is on the decline. Significant debt has to be faced. It will not go away, and we are now competing globally for our own jobs. A perfect storm is ahead. Yet the mainstream media is stating that we are in recovery and providing confirmation bias to a public and not fully aware of the truly awful fundamentals.
Wow, that is food for thought. So basically people's perceptions cannot be changed whilst we have a mainstream media claiming we are in recovery.
That is correct. Not enough people will make an effort to seek balance by viewing the alternative media. However, make no mistake at all, there are channels within the alternative media that provide a bias that may not be true, but at the same time provides a confirmation bias to those that seek that view.
Totally agree, Larry. That is why I am prepared to look at all the available evidence and following my research, try to come up with a balanced viewpoint on the state of the economic position within Western economies. Thank you for your insight. It has been most informative.